Yeah. I do not.
Could everyone please be seated? Could everyone please be seated? Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Thank you. Are there still those that want to come into the room? Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Township of Abington's Board of Commissioners meeting for October 13, 2016. And may I have a roll call vote, please?
Here.
Here.
Sanchez, Rothman,
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Markman, Schreiber,
Here.
Bowman, Placido,
Here.
Barron,
Here.
Gillespie,
Here.
Hecker,
Here.
Kalinowski,
Here.
Klein,
Here.
Luker.
Here. Please be advised that Commissioners Michael Markman, Ben Sanchez, and Tom Bowman are excused. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get started, I'd like to make the following announcement that the Board of Commissioners had an executive session held on Wednesday, October 5th at 6:15 p.m. on a personnel matter. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Carol Gillespie, who will be making a presentation for the 50th anniversary of the Timony Irish Dancers.
Wow, it's nice to see a big crowd. Let's see what it looks like in about a half an hour.
I just gave her that line.
Thank you. Okay, Rosemarie Timony, would you come up here, please? I can't see over this big crowd. I got a wonderful note from a friend to remind me that this was the 50th anniversary, and I remember when our son John went for, 6 months maybe to your class? I think he was a little rowdy. Anyway, so I want to read the note that I received. It says, Dear Carol, since 1996, Rosemarie Timony has left an indelible mark on the Irish community. Her dancers can be seen performing locally in parades, nursing homes, local school events, and festivals throughout the Delaware Valley. I think that date's wrong. 96 doesn't equal 50 years. Anyway.
66.
Yeah. She often says the dancers are like family to me. What started as a small class in her basement has evolved into a group of over 300 adults and children, and I'm sure everybody's seen them at all the events in August when we have the night out. You're there, right? You're in the 4th of July parade in Glenside. You're in the St. Patrick's Day parade in Philadelphia. You're everywhere. Anyway, excuse me. You've gone from Washington, D.C., and then you've done the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin. That's wonderful. Rosemary's greatest thrill was marching in the 1997 St. Patrick's Day Parade as Grand Marshal. She is now ecstatic to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Timony Dancers. She is delighted to share this accomplishment with her friends and family. So we are very proud to give you this. Excuse me one second. Abington Township. I forgot, Rosemarie has had an injury. I forgot she can't hold this. So this is from the commissioners for all that you have done. Okay, you can try with both hands. So thanks. Are you okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
With an Irish accent.
Well, you all done, because my time's going to take a little while. Okay. This is just unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you over and over. It's a nice time for me at this point, after nearly 2.5 years, to thank all the guys, all my visitors in the hospital, all those years. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for your prayers. Probably will never be back on the road with you again. I'm sorry. I'll only blow my whistle in the parades again. That'll be about it. So for all those great years we had, guys and girls, I thank you. And for this is unbelievable. I don't know who's behind it. I'm sure it's Jim Marish. Yeah, is it Jim Marish or was it? Okay. But thank you all very, very much for this. This is beautiful. I keep thinking that this is not me because I think I'm still 60. Okay? And when we think back 50 years, that was somebody else, you know, so at least I hope I get a lot more years out of it to enjoy maybe plenty more years of Irish dancing. So thank you everybody.
Just quickly, for those that don't know what Rosemary was talking about, she was a crossing guard at Copper Beach Elementary School, and I think maybe 2 years, or was it 3? 2 years. It was 2 years in April. She was hit by a vehicle and is... Oh, somebody fell asleep. So we're just glad that Rosemary's with us and still dancing away. So, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gillespie. At this time, for a presentation of class accommodations, I'd like to call on Deputy Chief John Livingood.
Thank you, President Luker. President Luker and members of the Board of Commissioners, tonight we have 2 Class 2 departmental commendations for bravery, which are being awarded to Sergeant Ozzie Toledo and Officer Gary Martinez. The Class 2 award is one of the highest categories of commendations that we award, and I request that Lieutenant Pat Malloy, our Patrol Division Commander, tell us about the incident which occurred on September 25th, 2016, and for which these commendations are being awarded.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. President, members of the board, members of the audience and the community, it's an honor for me to read these facts here. This was an incredible job. At approximately 8 p.m. on Sunday evening, September 25th, Upper Dublin Police Department requested assistance in locating one of their residents, a 30-year-old male who was emotionally distraught and was threatening to commit suicide. County radio provided further details describing this male as 5'10" and approximately 270 pounds. Just before midnight, Officer Gary Martinez observed a male fitting this description, and he stopped to talk with him in the area of Limekiln Pike and Elm Avenue. During this encounter, Officer Martinez attempted to verify his identification while also attempting to counsel him and keep him calm. At this point, Sergeant Ozzie Toledo arrived on scene to provide backup and to assist in taking this individual into protective custody. When Sergeant Toledo and Officer Martinez were preparing to transport him, this individual at the time was very calm and cooperative. They advised him that they needed to conduct what is called a pat-down search for weapons before they put him in the back of the vehicle to transport him to the hospital. As this was about to occur, the suspect suddenly pulled out a fully loaded .38 caliber revolver from his left pocket. Officer Martinez immediately shouted, "Gun, gun," and drew his weapon, pointing it at the suspect, as our training would dictate. Sergeant Toledo, who was very close in proximity to the suspect and the gun, immediately grabbed the suspect's left hand in an effort to disarm him, or at very least to control the weapon. Because this suspect was very strong and determined to take his own life, Sergeant Toledo was unable to remove the gun from his grip, but the sergeant did maintain control of his arm. As the struggle for the gun continued, Officer Martinez reholstered his weapon and grabbed the suspect's left forearm just above the gun. Both officers continued to wrestle with this distraught man as he would not let go of the firearm and repeated the words, "Shoot me, please, just shoot me." Sergeant Toledo then announced, which is incredible to have this composure, very loudly that he was going to fire the weapon. In essence, he wanted to empty it, rendering it safe. Announcing his intentions was really critical at this point, since it prepared Officer Martinez for the loud, repeated fire, loud, emptying of the weapon, and it prevented what is potentially a situation called sympathetic fire, where we have tragic loss of life. Sergeant Toledo then reached around the trigger guard while the gun remained in the suspect's tight grip, and then the sergeant fired all 5 rounds safely away from them into an unoccupied garage. Officer Martinez and Sergeant Toledo continued to struggle with him, and eventually they were able to gain control of him and take him into custody without any injuries. The suspect was then transported to Abington headquarters for processing, and later was transferred to a mental health facility for treatment. They're the facts, but this, ladies and gentlemen, was an example of outstanding police work. And their actions here can be described as nothing less than heroic. Because each of these officers had unique skills and talents and training, not to mention their high level of physical fitness, they were able to resolve this potentially deadly encounter peacefully and save a man's life. In a split second, these officers found themselves in a position where they could have either taken a life, lost their own lives, but instead they risked their own safety, exhibiting what was clear courage and compassion. And this saved this gentleman's life. And in our business, there can be nothing greater, no greater calling than saving a life, and no greater joy than saving another person's life. So just to give you the impact this had on me and the department, the very next day, and how it really hit home, I went down into the cell block area, and I spoke to the individual. We were releasing him to the ambulance. And he had tears rolling down his face, and he asked me naively, like, Lieutenant, do you know these officers? As if we were in a real big department, and I didn't know them. And I said, yes, certainly I know them. Still crying, asked me, he said, can you please tell them I apologize for the trouble I put them through, and I want you to thank them for saving my life. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the most incredible pieces of police work I've ever seen, and I just want to turn it back over to Deputy Chief Livingood to move on with the program.
Thank you, Lieutenant. This time I would ask Sergeant Toledo, Officer Martinez to step forward, and Commissioner Schreiber, if you'll please join us to award these commendations.
I'm just going to read one, and they say this. This is a Class 2 award. The departmental commendation for bravery presented to, this one is to Sergeant Ozzie Toledo, in recognition of your courage, professionalism, and compassion in disarming a suicidal subject at great risk to your own personal safety to save the life of another. It's from the Abington Township Police Department, October 13th, 2016. So congratulations to both of you.
At this time, we're honored to have with us this evening Congressman Brendan Boyle, our congressman representing the 13th Congressional District, covering both parts of Montgomery and Philadelphia counties, followed by our own State Representative Madeline Dean, representing the 153rd Legislative District. Congressman Boyle.
Well, thank you, President Luker, and to all the commissioners, and to each of you who are involved in public service. I'm going to be very brief. I heard about this event, this incident, actually when I was in Washington because we were in session that week, and was immediately impressed with the details. To have that presence of mind to act as Pat Malloy put it, intelligently, tough, but also with compassion is absolutely remarkable. It also shows, by the way, some of the things that our police officers have to deal with, including an increasing phenomenon in our society, so-called suicide by cop, which unfortunately is something that is out there. And the fact that you had the presence of mind to do what you did is incredible. So congressional citations are very rare, but considering what Sergeant Toledo and Officer Martinez did, was proud to go ahead and sponsor and present these 2 congressional citations for the heroic actions you undertook.
Good evening, Mr. President, and to the Board of Commissioners. A special good evening to Chief Kelly and to Deputy Chief Livingood. My name is Madeline Dean. I'm State Representative. I'm privileged to represent Abington Township and Upper Dublin as well. I lived in Abington all my life. So every day, I just expect, and we come to expect, that our Abington police force is extraordinary. Every ordinary day, we think you're extraordinary. But boy, oh boy, did you reprove it this past month. It's not appropriate, I think, to say congratulations. Instead, I want to say I want to commend you. Commend you because every step in that story tells your abilities, your skills, your heart, your intellect. At every step of the way, you took the right moves. I can't imagine doing that. So I thank you. I commend you. You preserved your own life and courageously preserved the life of another. I brought you citations from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, signed by the Speaker and by me, saying to you that we're always proud to tell people good stories. And Abington is full of good stories. So Officer Martinez and Sergeant Toledo, thank you for marvelous work and your courage.
Officer Martinez and Sergeant Toledo, would you like to say a couple words and introduce your families, please?
Just want to say thank you to the Board of Commissioners, Congressman, State Representative Dean. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us being here, standing in front of everyone. Thank you to the community for coming out, to those police officers that were off duty and came out, my friends and family for coming out. 20 years ago, it's funny, I was telling Gary, 20 years ago we played baseball. We were in Little League. And I would have never imagined that 20 years later we would have been fighting someone for our life. So for that, Gary, thank you.
And I also would like to thank the commissioners, State Representative Dean, Congressman Boyle. Again, the outpouring from the community was great. It certainly, helped me through everything. It, certainly the support from fellow officers and family and friends. I'd like to thank all of those here tonight. Again, it was intense, but again, I appreciate everybody that showed their support throughout the whole period of time. So thank you. Appreciate it.
I also just want to thank the media for coming out here, because so often when something bad happens and police do something negative, or there's a mistake done by police, it is spotlighted throughout the media. That's what we see almost every day. And, for them to be out here and hopefully they air this and show the people of the community that we don't come to work looking to kill anyone. That's not what we're about. We're here to protect lives. And the men and women across the nation, that's what they do every day. So I just hope the community realizes that, and the media is able to get that out and show what exactly we do every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, officers, and thank you to Congressman Brendan Boyle and State Representative Madeline Dean for coming on this momentous occasion for these fine young officers. If the families... At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Commissioner Laurie Schreiber, our Director of Public Safety.
Thank you. We're going a little bit out of order for our public safety agenda item number 1 while everybody is still here. So it is for the appointment of Deputy Chief John A. Livingood as Chief of Police. This is a motion to appoint Deputy Chief John A. Livingood as Chief of Police effective April 1st, 2017, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Any comments from residents? Hearing none. Comments from Lieutenant Malloy?
Yes.
Yes, you make a
If you
comment.
put it on the mic.
Name and address, please.
I'd also like to call Lieutenant Warner and Lieutenant Gallagher up, if I could, just to be with me. Mr. President, Chief Kelly rarely misses these meetings, and he asked me to speak on behalf of him, a comment on the appointment of Deputy Chief Livingood as our new chief. The chief couldn't be here because he's at a presentation where our community policing won the International Association of Chiefs of Police Community Policing Award, something we're all very proud of, and the chief, was torn. It's such a great event tonight, missing the presentation for Sergeant Toledo and Gary Martinez, but also the momentous occasion where Deputy Chief Livingood has been announced our next Chief of Police. He wanted me to convey to all of you that this is something we've been planning for a long time. The lieutenants behind me, the entire command staff, the sergeants, the rank and file, unanimously endorse Deputy Chief Livingood to be our next chief and lead us into the future. And I can tell you this about Deputy Chief Livingood. 44 years. We both had the same type of surgery, except he didn't miss a day of work. He came back to work within 72 hours. He made sure he scheduled it on a Friday. The integrity, the commitment, and the leadership that he's going to provide. I just want the community and Mr. President to know that on behalf of the chief and the command staff, we are very proud to serve Chief Livingood.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any comments from residents? Hearing none, I think for this occasion, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Here? No.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
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 Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
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 Yes. Congratulations, thank you.
I'd like to thank the Board
Could you speak into the mic? Could you speak, John, could you speak into the mic or come up to the podium and give those comments?
That's not working. Something wrong with that mic? So again, thank you for the confidence you have shown in me. I very much appreciate it. I will work very, very hard in this position. I will work to earn your confidence even farther. And I look forward to the challenges we have going forward. I think we have a wonderful department, a tremendous community, a great township, and there's no other place in the world I'd want to work other than Abington Township. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. John? Did you want to go take pictures? Did you want to go take pictures now? If the audience and the commissioners don't mind, could we have a 5-minute recess, please?
Yeah.
Chief Livingood wants to tend to some business, won't tell me. Okay. All right. We'll call the meeting back to order for October 13th Township of Abington Board of Commissioners meeting. At this time, I'll ask for approval of the minutes and call on Vice President Stephen Klein.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes for the Board of Commissioners meeting of September 8th, 2016.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners or staff? Any from residents? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. At this time, we open the meeting for public comment on agenda items only that are on our agenda for this evening to the public for comment. If you do have comments, name and address, and if you would adhere to our 3-minute speaking rule. And first speaker, please.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. So the two items particularly that I'd like to note, although you have over 20 items on the agenda, and 3 minutes to address 20 items is absurd. We worked for years to get proper speaking rules, and you all reversed them recently. Residents don't even know what there is to speak about until they've seen the committee meetings and seen what your positions are. And this meeting would be the one where they then can address them as they learned them at the committee meetings. It was positively not okay for you to remove their speaking rights that we worked so hard to get. The first thing is the Army Corps of Engineers. I find that project absolutely mind-boggling. So we're talking about $2.5 million. By the time we're done with all the peripherals, it'll be close to $3 million. A lot of things don't get added up in there, like all the time that's been spent just to get to this point. So it is, in essence, a stream bank riparian buffer kind of thing, and we're straightening some things out and bolstering some things and removing things that we thought were appropriate before. But we're doing it, we are attacking areas that are not in the same place where homes are endangered, and we can't seem to find funds for some of those places. So that makes absolutely no sense, to straighten out a stream that is going to immediately want to find its own path again anyhow. And if you saw the riparian buffer, for instance, at the junior high school, which I understand they did just go and tend, it basically undid itself within a year. The Phragmites was back, invasive plants were all back. It was a big mess. It was no better than it was before, perhaps a little less poison ivy. And that is not okay. That was so much money poured into that, and that's what I see happening here with the Army Corps of Engineers project. This kind of lack of priority for our funds when we have a $20 trillion deficit is really problematic. That's where the $20 trillion deficit is coming from, because we don't have the funds to protect people's homes as well as to do this. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to mention was the engineering services, and again, in this short a time, it's pretty difficult to address it. But you cannot possibly get engineering services from an outside service that would be cost-effective like having an in-house engineer. Our in-house engineer, and I've spoken to him and had occasion many times in recent years to use those services where he knew where the map was, where the plan was. He knows the township inside out. He knows the people in the township. He knows the properties in the township. It's not a firm where 20 different people are working on it, and when the political winds change, another firm comes in. To me, this is another one of the literally putting services out to privatization, so to speak. Our voices carry so much more weight with our township employees, where we can see and we can appeal to you to see what's going on right here in this building, in your bailiwick. So please do not consider farming out all of our services and privatizing them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from residents on agenda items for voting this evening? Okay, if there are none, I'll move to Public Works and call on Director of Public Works, Commissioner Tom Hecker.
Thank you, President Luker. The Public Works Committee has 4 items of business for consideration this evening. The first is PW1, and this is a motion to authorize Township Administration to solicit requests for proposals for engineering services to be received by the close of business on November 4th, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Commissioner Zappone.
I wasn't at the committee meeting, but I saw this in a package Friday. I was very concerned and outraged by this. By us farming this out, number one, it's a disservice to our residents and taxpayers, okay? I've called Mike's department, Mike and Tim, numerous times over 16 years. They're out within the hour, okay? They're working already on a resolution to the problem, okay? I manage properties and I deal with 3 other townships. They all have that service farmed out. It's a disaster. What I have to go through to get somebody there to look at an issue, they're going to put you in line with all the other townships. This is a poor judgment call. I don't know who came up with this brilliant idea, okay? It's horrible. I deal with this every day in my job. It's a mistake. We just have to go and look at a different way of doing things. I mean, just to say, well, okay, it's going to start here in this department. Where's it going to go from there? So what are we doing, just dismantling the township? This is a joke, okay? So I'm recommending we either table this and have more discussion on it, or just completely forget this idea. This is a disservice to the taxpayers of this township, a disservice to them. They're going to be waiting in line like every other township that farms this engineering out. And maybe in a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months, they'll come and take a look at the problem. This is horrible. And I don't think we should go through with this at all. Again, and I'm going to say it 1,000 times, this is a disservice to the taxpayers of this township, a disservice to them.
Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Myers.
Thank you. I was at the committee meeting, and I obviously spoke against this. I still feel the same way. I have, in this interim, spoken to contractors, and there really is a difference. Commissioner Zappone just spoke to it, but there really is a difference between an in-house engineering department and a subcontracted engineering department. And I would never, ever suggest that anyone on this board, I hope, would never be doing this to be giving these contracts to certain acquaintances or, but the perception would always be there. So if this goes through, and I certainly hope it doesn't, I would suggest and I would work to have a pay-to-play ordinance like so many municipalities, especially in New Jersey, have. I think that would be essential. I hope this is not the way of things, because we do have directors of many departments that will be leaving in the next couple of years. I hope that this is not the trend to be subcontracting work out, code department, public works department. I don't believe that's the way to go. I think that resolution was found. Our engineer, Mike Powers, he had the wisdom to see that he could really do the job part-time. He has saved us a tremendous amount of money by doing that. I believe that he would like to do that for a few more years. I don't know how many, but it seems to be working quite well. And with what Commissioner Zappone said, it really is a disservice to our constituents, to our residents. This is really important, and this is what makes Abington special. It's our services. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schreiber.
So I was at the committee meeting as well, but I didn't really participate in it, not being on that committee. But I think, if I remember everything I heard, that this is a request to just gather information, and we're not saying we're going to do anything, but that we want to have all the facts so we can make an educated choice, look at every single possibility, and just as our, duly noted, to have all the possible things in front of us so that we can make the best decision for the taxpayers of this department. I also use the engineering department quite a bit, call them. They're very, very helpful. They're wonderful people in that office. I don't think it's a slight on them in any way to gather information so that we do know what we have moving forward if we ever do decide to make a change. And there's nothing saying that we are doing this. This is simply gathering information. But if I'm wrong about that, please correct me.
Commissioner Hecker?
Yeah, I want to say a couple of things. One, as the director of this committee under which this proposal is coming forward, any rhetoric about this being a preordained outcome or any undercurrent of there being some political misdealings here is a personal affront to me as the director of this committee. I said at the last committee meeting that I have no way to know which way this should go, and I'm open. We need dialogue. What is a disservice is to foreclose any option without having data in hand to analyze what is in the long-term best interest of the residents of this township. I hear the concerns being raised, and truthfully, I share them. But I don't want to shut off dialogue because there's a perception that there's something political going on here. I'm tired of that. That has happened too often in the last several months. I think it's time to knock that stuff off and get back to the business of taking care of the residents in a bipartisan way with one goal, the improvement of the quality of life here in Abington. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioners, a follow-up.
Why did this even come up? I mean, we're gathering information for what reason? Why? Because this has been working. I've been on the board for 16, I have the floor. I've been on the board for 16 years, and this has worked for 16 years. Maybe 30, 40 years prior to me getting on. So we're putting information, we're trying to gather information for what? For what? This is something that's working. If it's not broke, why are you trying to fix it? Leave it alone. It's going to start there, and I guarantee it's going to roll down the hill. Dismantling the township, is that what it is?
No.
Commissioner Klein.
That's the impression I have.
Commissioner Zappone. Commissioner Klein.
No, I'm all right. I mean, I'm right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Gillespie.
I just have one comment, and I understand, Tom. I understand where you're coming from, Dennis, because I also work with other townships, so I do know how hard it is to get through, and I know I can always get someone in our department. So I know the way I would be leaning. I just want to put that comment in there. I do understand that it's just not the same if we don't have our own engineering department. It just doesn't. I have to call engineering departments too often. So, okay, just my thoughts.
All right, any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Spiegelman.
Very briefly, President Luker, there's very little I can add to Commissioner Hecker's statement that stands on its own is exactly how I feel. With legitimate respect to the opinions of Commissioners Zappone and Myers, again, and to reiterate, we're just asking the question, when we have this information, everything will be taken into consideration, not just what the RFPs, the incoming RFPs say, but also gathering information about the exact experiences you're talking about, that Commissioner Zapone and Commissioner Gillespie are talking about. What happens in other townships? Because the fact is, many municipalities do it this way, where engineering services are outsourced to a firm. Does that mean it's the right way to do it? No, it is not. And clearly, in some people's direct experience, that doesn't work. But if we don't ask the question, if we don't do our due diligence during this period where, as I said during committee, we're in a period where many department heads and hundreds of years of institutional experience are about to retire. If we don't at least ask the question, I believe that is putting our heads in the sand, and that is the disservice. Again, with respect to those who disagree.
All right, I think you summarized it very well. Commissioner Marge?
Thank you.
One last comment.
I just want to say that one of the concerns is that if this is done and a couple of contractors, they come in very low, it looks very appetizing. But I think we've all heard of the experiences that contractors will come in low in order to get the business, and that's understandable. And then over time, over years, over the jobs, the prices go up and up and up. And we've lost services, and we're dealing with contractors that maybe aren't as immediately responsive as having an in-house engineering office. I mean, that's a concern to me. I understand that other municipalities do this. There are smaller municipalities. They have not done the flood work that Abington Township has done over the last 20 years. Millions and millions of dollars of flood work in just about all of our wards. It has been huge. It has been important. It has been essential to residents.
Okay, any other comments from Commissioner Klein?
I agree with Commissioner Myers. I have some concerns about the whole process also, but at the same time, I agree, we cannot be burying our heads in the sand, and those are questions, those are precise questions that we have for any consultant that gives a proposal for this engineering RFP. Those are absolutely the questions that we ask them, is what their fee is and how long they're holding it. I would see that as actually being a part of our interview process with anybody if this was ever to go that far.
Okay, any other comments from commissioners? Spiegelman.
Again, one last point to emphasize. There is no way that we are not, once we, again, receive the incoming RFPs, there is no way that we're not going to do our due diligence and take into account the experiences of townships that, of all different sizes. Because that also would be putting our heads in the sand. I can tell you, I can only speak for myself, but I certainly would not let any consideration move forward if we haven't done all the homework. That's it.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Kalinowski.
Real quick, and I kind of agree with the request, but I also get the feeling that it's already in motion. And that's why I have a concern. And it's the only reason I have a concern. And I understand where you're coming from, Tom. I do. But why we put this out there without a stronger discussion, or why is it out there to start with, is, I guess, my big question. Is it, Michael, are you stepping down, or did someone come up with this idea that maybe we should do this? Where did this come from originally? I guess that's my question.
My understanding from the manager who contacted me a couple of weeks before the last committee meeting was there was questions, and we are going to be in the business of making a decision about the reappointment in January. So I think it's part of a comprehensive due diligence exercise, which Mr. Powers was in the uncomfortable position of commenting on at the last committee meeting, and said he understood the due diligence that we were going through. And to my mind, as the director of this committee, in listening to the township manager, that's all this is. And we may get this stuff back, and it's clear, given all of the caveats raised by the members of the board, that this is ridiculous, and it gets thrown out. Or there may be other items for discussion. My only point is, instead of trying to take hardened sides and find a dividing line and stand on either side of the line before there's any data, let's have a dialogue. And I think we can do that together. We've demonstrated it before, and I don't know why we're deviating from that now. So I hope we can have a meaningful discussion about this and all of the other turnover that's about to take place in the township over the next couple of years.
So, one more.
I think you put it very well, sir.
It was, you did put that very well, but what I'm saying is, we're now doing this once again. It's October, going into November, going into budgeting. And I think all of us left here with a different feeling of how the budget went last year. So why are we now having this discussion with, which I said back in December, let's start these discussions before budgeting started. So now I feel we're under the gun. This engineering request is going to get lost in the budgeting, and it's going to be November 4th. We start no budget meetings November...
Actually,
October. So now we're discussing engineering services and we're discussing budget. It's all getting blended together, and that, I guess, is my only concern. Let's do it, let's see where it goes, but let's have a strong discussion about it.
Agreed.
Before we make this decision and make this happen.
I don't think that was anybody's, everybody's intention was to have a discussion about it.
Okay.
To make the claim that it was a preordained decision is ludicrous. Everybody's been sitting up here, this is the way we get information.
Okay.
I got one last closing comment from Commissioner Zapone.
Okay,
Then
if
we're
we want
going
to have more discussion on it, why don't we just table this and get into a real good discussion?
Because we don't have any information. This gets us information.
Well, let's just discuss what we're going to do.
We are.
If it's
We've
worth
discussed
us-
it. We
we're- if
discussed
it's
it during
worth
committee
us
meetings, and we're
wasting
discussing it now.
An engineer's time and wasting our time and bringing people in to interview them.
right,
So why don't we have a
Commissioner Zapone.
discussion? Hey, can
Okay,
I
go ahead.
finish, please?
This is the third time I'm saying, you're starting to repeat yourself, but go
I'm
ahead.
not repeating myself, okay? I know I'm 63 years old. I'm not repeating myself yet, okay?
Can you finish your comments, sir?
I want to finish my comment. So why are we going to waste somebody's time coming in here, okay? Why are we going to waste our time, okay, discussing this, okay, when we should all sit around a table and discuss what direction we're, well, is this a good idea? Maybe it isn't. Maybe let's just forget that for now. So why don't we just table this for now?
Commissioner Rothman.
We don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea until we have any sort of
It's a good
numbers
idea
or
or
services.
What?
Any of
I'm
this.
telling you it's a bad idea. I
Well,
deal with it constantly.
I believe there's 14
It's a
others of
bad
us here, so
idea.
you telling us it's bad is not exactly
Commissioner,
the
can we call the
answer.
vote, please?
Yeah. All right,
President,
I just have one.
President Luker, may I just say one?
This is the last comment.
I promise, I promise. I just would like to say that this really would have been much more palatable if this had been for information only instead of an action item, in information only where we really could have discussed it. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, it's been moved and seconded, and comments have been received. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Opposed?
Okay. Why don't we do a show of hands? All those in favor, show of hands? Opposed, show of hands?
Three. Four.
It's 9-3. It's 9-3.
That's actually 4 now.
There's four.
Let's do it again, maybe.
One and four.
Wait.
I think we need to do it again.
9-4 is what, 13? We don't
9-4
have
is
12.
13, and we don't have 13.
It's 8-4.
8-4. It's 8-4. A math guy?
You got a calculator on your phone.
Liz, are we straight on the math? Yes. Okay. All right. So the final count is? 8-4. Okay. Continue on, Commissioner Hecker.
Thank you, President Luker. Let's see about PW2. This is a motion to authorize the proper township officials to enter into an agreement with PennDOT for snow and ice removal on PennDOT highways for the winter season 2016 and 2017, and I so move.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. PW3, this is a motion to approve the design and construction agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, including the project management plan for the Abington Environmental Improvement Project to provide for an improved riparian buffer and stream corridor improvements along the Sandy Run Creek, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. PW4, this is a motion to accept a grant of sanitary sewer easement from Aqua Pennsylvania Incorporated in and along the rear property line of Montgomery County Tax Parcel Number 300016440009, including block unit number 30195-010, and number 30195-011, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you, President Luker. That concludes the Public Works Committee's business.
Thank you, Commissioner Hecker. At this time, I'd like to call on Jimmy DiPlacido as Acting Director of the Code Enforcement Land Development Committee.
Thank you, President Lugar. Tonight, we have one item for Code Enforcement and Land Development, which is CE1, and that is a motion to approve the subdivision and land development application of Robert Morris, applicant and owner for the properties located at 1511 Susquehanna Road and 1112 Rydell Road, Abington Township. The applicant proposes to relocate the existing property lines to create a third lot that will contain the existing carriage house. The carriage house is proposed to be demolished and a new single-family dwelling constructed. The plan submitted has the proposed new lot fronting on Susquehanna Road, having the minimum 1 acre in lot area. The properties are zoned in the R1 residential district in Ward 1 of Abington Township, and this motion is subject to the following conditions and waivers listed in tonight's agenda, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Fine job, Commissioner DiPlacido. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you, President Luker. That concludes the business of Code Enforcement and Land Development.
Good job, sir. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Laurie Shriver, Director of Public Safety.
Thank you, President Luker. PS1 has already been covered, and we are very happy about it. PS2 is a motion to adopt ordinance number 2126, amending Chapter 156, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 14, Stop Intersections, and Article 3, Parking Regulations, Section 25, Parking Prohibited at all times, no parking between signs, no parking here to corner, parking prohibited except certain hours, no stopping or standing, and Section 28, Special Purpose Parking Zones, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
PS3 is a motion to advertise ordinance number 2127, amending Chapter 156, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 14, Stop Intersections, for adoption at the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Commissioners on November 10th, 2016 at 7:30 p.m., and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
PS4 is a motion to authorize township officials to accept a grant award from the North Central Highway Safety Network, Inc., in the amount of $15,000 with the township's matching portion of $1,000. The township match will cover the Social Security costs of the officers working the grant, as this expense is not covered by the grant. At the conclusion of the grant, the Social Security expense will be transferred to account 010440445110, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
And PS5 is a motion to authorize staff to proceed with the implementation of the lieutenant's promotional examination with the cost up to $35,000 to be included in the 2017 budget, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
And that concludes our agenda for this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Shriver. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner John Spiegelman, Director of Public Affairs.
Thank you, President Luker. Tonight, Public Affairs has 4 agenda items, starting with PA1, 2016 HUD Program, Architectural and Engineering Contract, Crestmont Park Community Facility. This is a motion to approve and enter into a contract with Daly and Jalbout Architects Incorporated for the preparation and construction of construction documents for a new community facility at Crestmont Park in the amount of $66,800, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
PA2, Grant award acceptance for TCDI grant, Walk Park Train, Abington. This is a motion to accept the Transportation and Community Development Initiative, TCDI grant, from Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, the DVRPC, in the amount of $75,000. The grant will support the Walk Park Train, Abington concept of the Abington Master Bike Plan, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Staff? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
PA3, consultant acceptance for TCDI grant, Walk Park Train, Abington. This is a motion to accept the proposal from the team of Simone Collins Landscape Architecture and Traffic Planning and Design Incorporated to prepare the Walk Park Train Abington plan through the TCDI grant from DVRPC, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? There are none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
And our last item is PA4, Act 511 Tax Hearing Officer. This is a motion to approve for the remainder of 2016 Stephen P. Imes, Jr., Esquire, as the Abington Township Hearing Officer for Act 511 Tax Appeals, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any comments from staff? If there are none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes.
Mr. President, if I may make a brief public affairs-related announcement?
Sir, go ahead.
As folks who follow along at our meetings and various newsletters and Facebook posts know, there's a team that's been working for quite some time on the Old York Susquehanna project, a project to fix one of the very worst intersections in the township, and the intersection that's in the very center of the township, Old York and Susquehanna roads. We are going to be having a very exciting public meeting on October 24th. That's Monday, October 24th, 7 p.m., right here in this room, to talk about this plan and talk about some of the plan-related grant acceptance motions and other actions coming before the board in the November meeting. We're very excited about this plan. We're going to have a nice presentation. The presentation is mostly pictures, not a lot of words and numbers, so it's not as boring as the things I usually say. Certainly like to invite all commissioners to come out to join this meeting. You're going to get a formal invitation tomorrow, but hopefully the public will come out, because again, this is a really exciting plan, and looking forward to talking with people and getting people's feedback. And again, Monday, October 24th, 7 p.m. And with that, public affairs agenda is concluded, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call on Mr. Vice President Stephen Klein, Director of Finance Committee.
Thank you, President Luker. I'd like to call on the Treasurer, Jay Blumenthal, for the Treasurer's report.
Get this together. Thank you, Commissioner Klein. For monies to receive by various departments deposited into the Republic Bank for the month of September, we've deposited a total of $4,517,454. As compared to last year, $396,4090, we have an increase of $553,364. And as compared to last year's year-to-date was $55,978,813, compared to $52,918,724, with an increase of $3,060,089. Some good cash flow. As for the real estate taxes for the month of September, we brought in $30,943 with a year-to-date of $25,762,828, with a balance collective of $1,354,000. Compared to last year, it's an increase of $12,031. Might I add, we now have October and November, and actually the penalty amount is due in November. So we should be at the 98 collected, 98% with 2 uncollected, which on average, I can't ever remember not being at 98 and 2 remaining. So we will be at the high percentage, which is very consistent with a lot of townships within Montgomery County, by the way. That's my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. FC1, motion to approve investments for the month of August as previously circulated to the board. It was noted that investments for the month totaled $554,000. Interest rate yields ranged from 0.95% to 1.207%, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
FC2, motion to A, approve the August expenditures as previously circulated to the board in the amount of $2,352,442.99, and salaries and wages in the amount of $1,855,053.02, and B, authorize the proper officials to sign vouchers and payments of bills and contracts as they mature through the month of November 2016, and I so move.
Second. Been moved and seconded. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Supano?
Yes.
Spiegelman?
Yes.
Sanchez? Rothman?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Martin? Schreiber?
Yes.
Bowman? DePlacido?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Gillespie?
Yes.
Hecker?
Yes.
Kalinowski?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Yes.
FC3, motion to approve the advance and travel expense activity for August 2016 as previously circulated to the board. Advance and travel expense reports were $0 and $568.48 respectively. 8-month expense total, $29,431.67, and I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
FC4, motion to approve the clearing fund, the deferred revenue expense, activity, and petty cash balances for the month of August as previously circulated to the board. Clearing fund receipts and disbursements for the month of August 2016 were $20,130.81 and $18,461.05 respectively. Deferred revenue, expense receipts, and disbursements for the month of August 2016 were $0 and $0 respectively, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
FC5, motion to authorize an expenditure from miscellaneous expense in the Permanent Improvement Fund, account number 07-00-000-5999, in the amount of $77,341 to be distributed equally among the 5 volunteer fire companies serving Abington Township, $15,468.20 each company, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Commissioner Zappone.
I guess this will be directed at Kevin. When was the last time this fee was increased? You know, Jefferson buying all these hospitals, what, you know, I think the fire departments can use a lot more money.
This was increased by the rate of the fire tax, but the agreement with Abington Hospital 2 years ago said the rate was flat until the 5 years was up. So if we raise taxes, it doesn't go up. So the last time we raised fire taxes before this year was about 3 years ago, so it would have went up then. This is only minuscule of what the fire departments get for the in lieu of, but then the fire tax obviously went up this year, and the fire taxes, goes out to all the 5 fire departments, so.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
Okay, any other comments from commissioners? Any from staff? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
FC6, motion to authorize township officials to enter into an agreement with B. Bergvall and Company to act as township's independent auditors for the calendar year ending December 31st, 2016, 2017, and 2018, and I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Any comments from staff? There are none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
FC7, motion to authorize proper township officials to enter into an agreement with J.W. Blumenthal, Abington's Township Treasurer / Tax Collector, for the collection of Act 511 taxes for the calendar year of 2017, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Commissioner Klein.
I'd like to ask Finance Director Kevin Barron for an explanation, since this was brought up in the Finance Committee back in August, and there were some questions as to whether this could be done before the beginning of next year.
Correct. We talked about it in August Finance Committee, and the manager and I went afterwards. The Finance Committee approved it to go to the board, but we wanted to get legal approval of this because the tax collector compensation cannot be changed in the middle of his running election or during his term. It has to be changed at the beginning of his term or after his term. This is not one of his compensations for real estate or fire. It is for the business, mercantile, and LST. Back in 2010, when we were working on the 2011 budget, tax collector Blumenthal lowered his commission to help us balance the budget at that time, and it was an intention that down the line it would go back up. It used to be at 2.5%. He lowered it to 1.5% for just the LST. We got legal opinion, and it can be changed, and we're changing it, asking to change it effective January 1st, back up to 2% of just the LST, nothing else.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from commissioners? Any from staff? If there are none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
That concludes the Finance Committee agenda.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Klein, Vice President Klein. That concludes our formal agenda. At this time, we'll open the meeting up for public comment for non-agenda items. Open to the public, name and address, and 3-minute speaking rule. Thank you.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. That was an example right there of why removing our rights to speak at this movement, that information was not given anywhere to the public about the 2% and the 1% of the tax collector. And I think everybody in this room knows that the tax collector's compensation has been an item of some consternation for 10 years, and I think the reason it was lowered was the year that I said that if it had been done by an outside firm, it would be substantially less. So while you're looking at outside firms for the engineering, you might want to look at comparison estimates for the tax collection, which, by the way, is written in voodoo language all over the place instead of very specifically this tax, that tax, these fees, those fees, and here's totally what the tax collector makes. That appears nowhere and has been a 10-year battle to get that into assessment. In addition to that, the B. Bergvall auditors are the same auditors all the time, and I recommend that you switch the auditors up because another auditor might find what the current auditor might not find. I think it would be a very good idea to have revolving auditing firms that might see different things. The 3 minutes that were allotted for 20 items on the agenda comes out to 9 seconds per item. So I picked 2 of them at the beginning. That gave me 1.5 minutes to discuss the Army Corps of Engineers $2 million project, which you just approved just like that without, I just spoke to Mr. Wrigley. I called several people trying to get the information on the outcomes of this $3 million, the goal of which is to clean the environment. And I said, where are the figures? What do we expect that to clean? And the answer that I got right before the meeting, if I haven't misunderstood it, and I do occasionally, but I can certainly be corrected and excuse myself, and we'll fix that. But my understanding was that we don't really know what that $2.5 million is going to do in terms of cleaning the phosphorus and the other pollutants out. In other words, we're going to spend $3 million on something that really we don't know what it's going to do. We have so many things that need to be done, including stream bank things that will change sediments and change the invasive plants and everything else, while you also protect homes like Madison Avenue. And I don't mean in Deal Park, but before Deal Park. For 10 years, I've been trying to get you people in your newsletters to inform people. I'll bet not one of you told your residents that you took the speaking rights away. And I recommend that you do that. And ask your residents if they want their speaking rights removed. And if they don't, I recommend that you reinstate them. Okay. I also would like to say that I am concerned about the HUD project still, that I've worked extensively with residents in Ward 5, and I don't feel that this HUD project community center, community facility, or whatever you are calling it, really is involving the community with the wishes that they had. We now have Abington Hospital with programs they want to put in. In other words, we have other people using it, but the community has not fully been engaged in using it the way they asked to have it used. Okay, so there are many other issues on that agenda that need some discussion, but obviously I'm out of time. But more than anything, I would like you all to please reinstate the speaking terms, because until this part of the meeting, after the committee meeting and after these discussions, we don't know what it is you're going to do. And that's when we should be able to have input. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from residents?
Mr. President, just...
Yes, Commissioner.
I think there was a misstatement about B. Bergville and Company. Could we ask Mr. Kevin Barron to go over that history?
Yes, that is correct. Approximately 4 years ago, Susan Matiza, the finance director at the time, and I did a proposal for audit firms, and we changed audit firms from B. Bergville to Barber Kane Thornton. That contract was up, or due to some changes in the GASB laws, we rebid it this year, and B. Bergville was the lowest bid at that time. Yes, we did have B. Bergville before, but the last 3 years was done by Barber Kane Thornton, not B. Bergville.
3 years.
Last 3 years, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Any other comments from residents? If there are none, we'll start with comments from commissioners with Jimmy DiPlacido.
Thank you, President Luker. I'm just sad that the cameras left before they got to see me read my first agenda item. Put this on first. I want to thank the McKinley Firehouse for hosting this week's Fire Prevention Week. Well-attended, fun, and I had 2 pretzels. And I'll say this again, they constantly ask me to volunteer and become a member, but once again, I am the guy running out of the building when you guys are running in, so thank you for your service, and thank you, McKinley Fire Department. And lastly, drive like your kids live here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Farron.
Thank you, President Luker. Just a couple things. Just in terms of the work done by our office, I just want to thank Mike Powers. We've had some issues in Ward 12. Mike and Tim have been phenomenal. So I know there's a lot of rhetoric going on, but in terms of the work they do, it's incredible. I just want to express my appreciation and the neighbors' appreciation. Very happy with the responsiveness and what you're doing. I want to echo Commissioner DiPlacido. First of all, congratulations to you on your first reading. But I want to congratulate our Abington Township Fire Department on a great Fire Prevention Week. Tonight was Glenside Weldon's night. Tomorrow night is the last one. It's Edge Hill Fire Company's night. So for those of you in that neighborhood, please head on over to there. Tomorrow night is St. Joseph the Protector's Annual Fund Kickoff Night, and it's a great night, but most importantly, we have a local band there. The Bare Knuckle Boxers are a group of Glenside young men who have decided to get into the music business and been doing a pretty good job for the past couple of years. They do a great job. It's a fun night to get out there. The Fall Fest for Keswick Village was rescheduled from last Saturday and is now this Saturday from 12 to 5. So if you are looking for the Fall Fest, it's going to be this Saturday in Keswick Village from 12 to 5. Come on out. It's a great way to spend a beautiful October day. We also have, at the Abington monthly meeting of the Religious Society of Friends, they're having a dedication ceremony. I don't know how many people know about this. They've been doing some research, and they have found a variety of unmarked graves in their property. And to celebrate the lives of those people lost there, many of whom were of African descent, but many of whom they don't know their race or their creed or who they were. But they want to honor their lives, so they're having a dedication ceremony with a new bronze plaque, again, this Saturday at 2 p.m. So go to the Fall Fest and go to the dedication ceremony, and then come back to the Fall Fest. Again, in Keswick, we have the 23rd Annual Halloween Festival in Keswick Village. That is Saturday, October 29th, from 5 to 7 p.m. It's a great event. We get hundreds of kids dressed up in their best Halloween outfits. The businesses come out and celebrate the community. So if you want to bring your little ones out and get dressed up, if you want to get dressed up, if Halloween's your holiday, by all means, get dressed up and do that. The Abington Educational Fund is having a Decades Party on November 11th to support some scholarships, so if you can support the Abington Educational Fund. The Glenside Garden Civic Association is having a trivia night, and they're trying to support community events November 12th at St. Paul's in Glenside from 6 to 9 p.m. If you're looking for something to do with, bring your kids along. It's kid-friendly, so if you just want to get out, let your kids get out as well and have a good time together. That's a trivia night for the Glenside Garden Civic Association. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Commissioner Gillespie.
Thank you. I told him to say all that because it's just right across the street. Thank you. I don't, Jimmy, did you talk about the Fire Prevention Week?
Just the one around me, but you can talk more if you'd like.
Of course, it was Weldon Fire Company tonight, so everybody has their helmet. So take it home to your kids or give them out to the neighborhood kids. And I'm always just so proud of our volunteer fire company. You can't beat these men and women. They do an excellent job, and I'm proud to attend their open house, and I'm so happy that they are here for us all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hecker.
Thank you, President Luker. Wanted to say congratulations again to Deputy Chief Livingood. John, you embody all that is good about this township, and it was very compelling tonight to watch your command staff speak about the high regard they hold you in, and I've never heard anybody say anything different, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I also wanted to say this coming week is one of my very favorite weeks of the year. It is the biannual trash cleanout week here in the township, and Ed, I'm going to apologize in advance to you and Dave for the amount of time that your staff is going to spend in front of my house on Friday morning. But take a look on the township website. The residents out there, it's your normal trash day. You can put out additional trash. There are things that are prohibited, but it is a perfect time to get rid of all of those things that have accumulated in your basement, shed, garage, or elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Kalinowski.
Yep, real quick. Congratulations, John Livingood. Great job, as always. Thank you for being a part of our community. Edgehill Firehouse Pancake Breakfast is this Sunday following our week of Fire Prevention Week, and it's at the North Penn VFW starting at 8 a.m. and going till noon. All proceeds go to the Edgehill Fire Company, so please stop by for breakfast. Abington Police Scholarship Fund, we're having a tailgating party November 6th at the North Penn VFW. We're starting at 12. We're going to have a pig roast, and we're going to have some games, watch the game, and the time is 12 noon till the game's over. And then I know it's coming up soon, Veterans Day, which is November 11th at 11 a.m. at the North Penn VFW. I know it's soon, but mark that on your calendar and please come. Thank you.
I have to say, any food that comes out of the North Penn VFW is excellent, so breakfast, go there, get that breakfast.
Thank you. Commissioner Vice President Klein.
Congratulations, John.
Commissioner Zapone.
I just want to take a moment to thank my committee, the Ardsley Family Committee, for putting on the 5th annual Ardsley Family Day, which was a great success. Well done job.
Thank you. Commissioner Spiegelman.
I'm not going to wear the helmet like Commissioner DiPlacido did because on my giant head it'll look like a little red yarmulke. I also want to commend all our fire companies for the fantastic work they've been doing, the open houses they've been putting on during Fire Prevention Week at Abington Fire, at Ward 11's own Abington Fire Company on Monday. It was unbelievably packed. They did a great job. All of our firefighters, and as Commissioner Gillespie said, our volunteer firefighters engaged the crowd, engaged the kids. People were so excited. It was really a beautiful night. And another thanks to our volunteer firefighters, a little news story that might have slipped under the radar, but the Insurance Services Office, which basically is what the insurance companies use to rate how safe a town is and how well protected a town is, from things like structure fires, upgraded Abington Township specifically because of the high quality protection afforded by our volunteer Abington Township Fire Department. So many thanks to them for that, because that affects our insurance rates. Not only does it keep us safe. Deputy Chief, future Chief Livingood, congratulations. You are a good man. Working with you has been a pleasure, and it's fantastic. You are going to serve as the best possible bridge from all the great work that Chief Kelly has done moving into the future, and really extremely proud of you and looking forward to working with you when you're chief. And along the same lines, again, we've seen yet another example of how our Abington Township Police Department is peerless among law enforcement organizations anywhere, in any big city, small town, or suburb in between. Every time I hear Sergeant Ozzie Toledo's name, it's in the context of something more like a superhero. I mean, he's like T.J. Hooker or something. Officer Martinez and Sergeant Toledo did. It was said, an unconditionally heroic job, and they truly deserve our admiration. Commissioner Hecker took my whole big speech about Clean Out Week, but yeah, Clean Out Week's coming. And the thing that always starts Clean Out Week is the paper shredding this Saturday. I believe it's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the township yards. No, Commissioner Klein, you will not gavel me. At 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the township yards. Paper shredding, Flory Lane, bring your paper. That's it.
Thank you.
Who's TJ Hooker?
You're older than I am. Don't pretend like you don't know.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
Commissioner Gillespie wants to... You're on, sir.
Please.
While it's always an honor to hear your comedy routine, I think we should move on a little bit here. In the spirit of Commissioner Spiegelman's yarmulke comment, I would like to wish a Happy New Year to the Jewish members of our community. Beyond that, because of Yom Kippur, I was unable to attend the McKinley Fire Station event last night, but thank you, Jimmy, for the report. That's a great group of volunteers over there, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to be there, but thank you to them. On October 29 at 1 p.m. at the Ethel Jordan Park, which is right below the McKinley Fire Station, at 1 p.m. will be the ribbon cutting for the project that's been going on there with the stream, planting of trees, etc. So I wanted to give a shout to the TTF Watershed Partnership, who's been doing wonderful work there. An hour later, at the McKinley Market, we'll be starting the annual McKinley Halloween Parade. So I hope that people will come out for 1 o'clock and then join us over there with their costumes and have a great bit of fun, which will lead us to the fire station for the end of that group of festivities. And I did not mention, but Commissioner Sanchez and I wanted to, at the last meeting, welcome to the community 245 North, which is an art gallery type of business in Keswick. I was in there multiple times, and it's really a nice little spot. So please come visit. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you. John, sincere congratulations. I know under your leadership that Abington Police Department will continue to be the stellar police department that it is. Sure. Tuesday, October 18th, is the Abington POW Food Festival. And probably by the time this airs, the food festival will be over. So I would really just like to say it was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schreiber.
Congratulations, John. Congratulations to the officers earlier this evening who did a stellar job. A quick announcement on Saturday, October 22nd, we're having a bingo to support next year's Roslyn Community Day. It's a BYOB. There's going to be various prizes. It's a designer bag bingo, but it's also tools. Now, are they, Ed, I'm going to ask you, are they designer tools as well, or just ordinary tools?
Like a Gucci hammer.
Okay, no name. So, but please come out. It starts at 6 p.m., and there'll be some snacks, but you can also bring your own food. But all the proceeds will go to next May's Roslyn Community Day. Thank you.
Thank you. To John, Chief Livingood, I want to only comment that the examples of heroism that were exhibited tonight by Officers Toledo and Martinez, but just as important, the restraint and good judgment, and not only the incident that these two officers were involved in, but the one last year that occurred in Ward 5, it just speaks volumes to, in my opinion, the leadership in our department and to the hours of extensive training that you put your officers through. We have been both fortunate, but more importantly, blessed that there were no injuries in either of these incidences. So on behalf of the Board of Commissioners at Abington Township, I just want to thank you, Chief Kelly, and your command staff for an excellent job. Well done. And lastly, to announce that the NAACP banquet will be this Sunday at Williamson's, October 16th at 3:30. Still not too late to get tickets. If you need some, call me. And if there are no other questions or comments, Commissioner, I'm sorry, Doug Wendell.
No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Just one last thing is I just wanted to mention there are still some seats available for our trip to New York on Wednesday the 19th. So if anybody's interested, it's $50. It's a day on your own in New York. The bus goes up, drops you off, and then you do what you like and come back. And then there's no driving for you. The bus driver has all the hassles.
Okay, and where are you going specifically?
New York City. So
you just shop on your own or do it?
Go to matinees, whatever you like. Just get in touch with us as soon as you can, because the trip is next Wednesday.
Okay, is there any other business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thank you for attending this evening's meeting. Thank you.